How to wake up at 5 a.m. as a student. I used to always blame others for my lack of time. My parents for giving me chores, school for homework and all the responsibilities, and I would always end up not doing what I wanted to do. Let me tell you a particular story that really changed my trajectory. It was January 2022, and I used to always stay up late and scroll on TikTok, on my For You page and stuff like that. And I scrolled, and I saw this particular video, which was something about soccer. It was an edit with soccer for the World Cup that would have been in that summer.
Always be those who debate, and the debate can rage on if you like. But as he falls in love,
And I was shocked, you know why? Because I realized that I was frustrated with who I was, with the fact that I was scrolling each and every night and I wasn't making the progress I wanted in life. I was still, waiting for a moment to change my life, and it didn't come. But I realized that I could do those videos. Instead of being a consumer, I could become a creator, and I would also get some money that would help me, improve my social life, which was my goal at that point in life, and, my skills overall. And yeah, I started becoming, productive. I started making one video a day on that particular channel. It was about football. I think it was called Football Factors, and everything changed. After that, I became an editor. I even did my first, money online. I had some gigs, some freelance jobs, and everything really changed. But because of that realization, of that moment, that kind of switched everything for me. Now, 3 years later, in the past spring semester, I achieved my first 4.0 GPA by following the exact same thing. And I mean by controlling the actions that you do and by being aware of the inputs that you do to get certain outputs. The same you can do as well. And if you want that, you have my school community, first link in the description. Now, let me ask you a question. If you right now are in a place that you don't want to be, you're not making the progress that you want to make, and as well in school you're stuck, you don't have the time, you blame others for your lack of time, for your lack of action, for your lack of everything that you want in life, what advice would you give to yourself? Would it be continue to do the same actions? Would it be continue to be unproductive, scroll, consume content and all of that? Would that be advice? Probably not. You know this deep down. We all knew this. It's like you don't have someone to tell you this. You already know it, but you don't apply it. And that's the big mistake there, because you try to go directly, because every situation that you have, you see it as an obstacle. I think that it's making you stop, not making you take action. Well, there's a mindset switch that I want to share with you, which is the moment you see an obstacle as a challenge, everything changes. Why? Because obstacles are meant to stop you. Well, challenges are meant to give you skills, to make you a better person overall, to give you some, attributes that help you evolve and grow in level. So this is something very important, because when you stop seeing the lack of time as an obstacle, your chores, your attributes, your homework, your whatever is it, when you stop see that as an obstacle and you see it as a challenge, you see it as a way for you to grow, to become closer to the person you want to become, then everything changes. And let me ask you something again. Would that thing, that obstacle, that challenge stop you from achieving your goals? I always ask myself this question when I have something in front of me, and it's got something like this. Would X obstacle stop your ideal man, maybe someone you really follow, stop taking the action? For example, would lack of time affect your future self and make him stop going to the gym? Probably not. And most of the things that you put there is going to be, the answer is going to be no, because there's nothing really that stops you from doing something that you want to really do. I've read recently in a book, there was something like a story about a past editor of a French magazine. He was the top CEO there, and once he had a stroke and he got some syndrome that he could only use his left eyebrow, and he wasn't stopped by that. He and his doctors invented a language only using your eyebrow, and he wrote 200 pages book after he died, of course. But that determination, that obstacle, he turned it into a challenge for himself, and he managed to write a book in such a bad condition where healthy people don't really write a book in their entire life. And one of the most important things is to be able to communicate with people that have the same mindset as you, the same ideals. And if you want to do that, check my community first, link below. There's a bunch of people there. I will talk to you as well, so you can join. The next thing I want to tell you is you need simple routines. You always expect for a big event to change your progress, and that was me in 2022. I used to scroll, I used to be unproductive. I was waiting for that moment where everything would change, where my life would go on a trajectory that I wanted to go, and I could gain some skills and I could achieve my goals of being a more social person, having a bigger network of people around me and stuff like that. Well, that didn't happen happen in that specific way, because you cannot wait for something to happen. So that's why you have to do some kind of small steps, small wins, micro shifts, not big change of events. Because as I mentioned earlier about the levels that you have in life, well, you may want to be at some point in your life where you're very skilled in a lot of areas, you have the outcomes that you have, but that person requires, you know, other actions that you don't do right now, and those actions are probably level 10, level 100, and you are probably, if you watch this video, you're at a very low level in those skills. You're level 0, level 1, level 2, whatever. So you can't make those actions right now. But what you can do is you can start from a small level and you can build momentum, compound small wins, and overall, with the experience that you have, with the challenges that you overcome, you can eventually get to that level and live, you know, in a way that you really want to. Tracking habits is also very important, because you have the simple routines, but you need to manage yourself to do them daily, because that's how you're gonna get the small wins that are gonna compound overall. I have right here a table, and I check every habit that I do every day. There's 5 habits that I have to do, 5 basic habits that really, you know, compound over time and evolve. So that's what you want to do at first too. You want to choose 1 or 2 that you want to start with, something that's very productive for you, maybe working out, maybe having, you know, conversation with someone, maybe reading a book, stuff like that, that leads you in a way that you want to go. And you start with those. You start small. You choose something that would be unreasonable for you to not do. So for example, if you want to go to the gym, or if you want to, you know, have a conversation with someone, what you can do, well, you can do 1 minute of those things, right? And that's the small thing that is gonna really compound over time, because if you don't do them, you don't evolve. But even if you show up, you do some progress. Of course, this only applies when you're a beginner. After that, you're gonna have feedback from yourself or from others and really improve. But right now, we have to get you in there on field so you can actually make the first progress, the newbie gains, and get you to a higher level. And if you watch this video, probably one of those habits that you want to have is waking up early. If you don't do this already, you may have another schedule. Maybe you stay up late, or maybe you sleep. And the thing is, the same thing applies here. You cannot do a big change overnight. And what I call, you know, this technique is progressive overload or progressive deload. Usually for most guys, it's progressive deload for most students, because most of the people go to sleep late and they wake up late. So what you want to do is, for example, if you go to sleep at 11 p.m. tonight, then the next night you want to go to sleep at 10:45. Why? Because it's going to be a small change, and in 1 week you're going to be able to, you know, go to sleep at 9, 8, something like this, and you're also going to be able to wake up early. So if you go to sleep 15 minutes earlier, you're going to wake up 15 minutes earlier as well. And this really doesn't put so much pressure on you. It's the small things that everyone can do. You don't know when you should wake up. Probably the thing that is most important for you is to get the right amount of sleep. Now, you don't have to overthink on this, because many people like really overthink on this, and 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. Right now you are at a small level. You don't care about those things really. You just care about having a sleep schedule that allows us to be more productive, and allows us to, you know, use the morning hours. What you can do is go with the basic 8 hours. You're gonna test that. So for example, you test that, you see you're tired, or you wake up even earlier than 8 hours, then you can choose that. Now, of course, there's some sleep cycles. You might heard of that, like every 90 minutes and stuff like that. So for example, if you sleep 8 hours, probably it's gonna take you like maximum half an hour to fall asleep, and that's like 5 sleep cycles that you have, 4 or 5 sleep cycles. And that's a really good thing to keep in mind, but don't stress about that too much. And I have an entire course on this in my school community, so check the first link in the description. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is that you have to sleep enough. As I told you earlier, start with 8 hours, but do not sacrifice your sleep. Like, do not sleep 3-4 hours a night, 4 hours a night, because it's not worth it. Now let me ask you something. What's the most important thing that you have in your life? You may say money, family, all the stuff, God, religion, whatever it is. That's important, right? But if you don't have health, if you're not here, you are not able to watch this video and comprehend, if your brain doesn't work, if you have some kind of issues like health issues, nothing else matters really. So that's why I think sacrificing health is an asymmetric risk. And what that means is the output is not going to be better than the benefit on the long term. The cost is not worth it. You may do that for like a couple of weeks, maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't do that either. But you don't have to play with this, because it's so tricky and so dangerous, and you only have to fail once and it's over. So that's why I think you should make health your priority, you know, sleeping right, eating right, being active and stuff like that, and being like socially healthy and mentally healthy. And I think that's very important, so you have to focus on those two. And there's a quote I want to tell you. I heard this a long time ago. It says something like this: it doesn't matter how much you sleep, it matters what you do when you are awake. And this is very important because a lot of times we do a lot of stuff, we focus on major areas, we spread our attention too thin, and we often fail to do what we want. We find ourselves in lack of time, and we get depressed because we didn't do what we wanted to do. I want you to focus on granularity from now on. Less superficiality. Avoid shallow things, shallow actions, and focus on deep, enhanced actions that can really move the needle. Instead of doing 10 things, choose only 2 or 3 things that you can do every single day. The same with habits, the same with actions that you do, the same with passions, the same with goals. You don't have to focus on 10 things because you will not make the progress that you want. First, if you want to be in a like-minded community, first link in the description. You can talk with me, with other people. You have a lot of courses there that are going to help you optimize and get closer to your goals. Now, as always, there's 3 action points that I want you to do. First of all, I want you to switch identity, right? So I don't want you to see obstacles as a way of signaling yourself to stop. I want you to see obstacles as challenges which are going to make you stronger, better, and give you more skills. Next, I want you to implement simple routines in place that are perfect for the level you are. So if you're in a rut right now, if you're at level 0, be honest with yourself. Start with 2-3 habits that you really think have the most maximum potential of moving the needle forward. And for waking up early, use progressive alarms, or deloading your sleep schedule to make it. And the last thing is to sleep enough and don't take risks on your health. Again, check my first link in the description. School community, you can talk with me. You have access to my whole program that's gonna help you wake up early and be more productive. And don't forget this: win your mornings, conquer your days.